Hello there! I'm happy to finally be back to finish this up. This is going to be the last part that I actually build in, I believe, and then I think that whenever I get around to it, I will actually upload just like a part showing, sort of showcasing it in its entirety with probably no voiceover, and I'll just put music or something. I hope that works out. But yeah, I should mention right off the bat that I switched these two rooms in the entrance hall around, so their positions are flipped, but I just thought that this made more sense for the way I laid out the castle, because mostly because of where the stairs were, and yeah, that's about it. This last part had several challenges. It was probably the most challenging, and I'm sorry it took longer than I expected to get it done and to get this video out and recorded, but I am happy to have made it through. I was really excited for this bit in particular because it had the magic room in it, which was something I was really looking forward to trying to create in The Sims. And I think I kind of already gave it away in the thumbnail, maybe. But I don't know. I thought that was kind of the most important and iconic room in this section of the castle, so I wanted to include that. But I also like making things a surprise, so I don't know. I'm very, very conflicted. But anyways, this section of the castle was a bit trickier to lay out, just because of the short walls, which was my own fault, and I couldn't really use the curtains that I used in the other parts of the castle because they were too long. Although I think maybe I could have used the tool mod to put them lower on the wall. But anyways, so this is like the first original room that I built on this floor aside from the library, and I had envisioned like this bathtub that was like built into the floor, and it had a canopy over it, and I really wanted to make it work. I'm not sure if it actually does or not, but hopefully it works. And I really liked how it had like that gap between the two pieces of fabric at the top so the chandelier could go through it. I thought that worked out really well. But yeah, I don't know if it looks kind of funny, like, but yeah, this was just a vision I had for the castle that I really wanted to try creating, and there were a couple rooms that I kind of had fun with. But oh yeah, and I just kind of tried to hide little toilets on the sides. I'm not sure if they're actually accessible, but I wanted it to be a fully functional bathroom anyways, and I didn't really know where to put them, so I just put them there. Hopefully it worked out, and I used that style of curtains a lot throughout this floor just because it was the only one that really fit and also fit the overall castle aesthetic. Yeah, and this was just kind of another random bathroom. It's not really anything special, but again, I thought it made sense to have different utilities available since it's such a big build, so that you don't have to walk all the way to another floor or to another area of the castle to use the bathroom, of course. Oh yeah, and since I put that weird bathtub room in the corner, it cut off sort of the flow of the castle or the layout around like the perimeter, and I didn't want you to have to go like all the way around to the other side if you want to access that room. So instead I thought it would kind of make sense to put like a little plant nursery type room. I don't know, I wouldn't really call it a conservatory, but I thought I would make sense to kind of build something like that and then put like the gardening plots in there, so that if you want to do gardening with your Sims or whatever, you have that option available, and then put a door on the side going out into the actual garden. So it would make sense for somebody who works with tending plants to be in there and have access out to the garden, but it also sort of remedies the issue of having the wall there cut off by the bathroom, because you can go out that door and in the entrance on the other side to access that area of the castle without having to do like a full loop all the way back around, if I'm making any sense. And I wasn't really entirely sure how to lay this out. I hope it turned out alright. I'm aware I say that a lot, but a lot of the time I don't really have a perfectly formed idea in my head. Sometimes I do, but sometimes I just sort of let the items take me where they want to go and just hope it works out for the best. So yeah. Oh yeah, and I also thought an armory kind of room would be fitting for a castle, of course. So I kind of tried to create that here. There weren't as many items to use as I was hoping there would be. I would have liked if I could sort of position swords upright so I could make like weapon racks, if that makes sense. And maybe I could, because I did install again the tool mod later, which allows you to manipulate items and like change their orientation and place them outside of the lot. So maybe I could have used that, but well, I did the best I could with what I had at the time, so hopefully it's not too boring, I guess. There are tons of rooms in this castle. They can't all be winners. Although I feel ashamed for saying that, because I want them all to be. I want to believe that I am the person who can bring everything to life, and I sound so stupid. I'm sorry, but you know what I mean. I don't like settling for things when I think I can do better, is the idea I'm trying to convey. I'm a perfectionist. But yeah, this is just like another random little hallway that doesn't really matter. But what I was about to say was I tried to take sort of elements from the rooms that already existed within the castle and use them to create new areas. So this one, I think this is one of the only bedrooms that actually exists on this floor, although it's technically on 2 floors. I don't know, it's just this funny little bedroom I decided to create. I thought it would be cool to have like a smaller room with a little loft area. I don't know who would sleep in here. I mean, I would. I think it's kind of neat, but yeah, I don't know. I just kind of had fun with this one, and I really like the idea of having like that little sort of bedroom that spans over 2 floors, and then you have like a separate level for your bed. I don't know. Oh yeah, and so this room, I wanted to have like more activities and skills available for actually adding play value to this castle. So I created like a little art room. I don't know, it's not very fancy, but I put an easel, and then later on I actually removed, or not removed, but I moved that bench over to the other wall, and I put like a little woodworking table in there, so you can do that too. I don't know. Oh yeah, and for this one, I created like, I don't know if you would call it like a pantry or a larder really, but it was kind of just like a food storage area, and then I put like some dishes and stuff, and it also sort of helps with the flow of the castle, because there's a door upstairs that you can go out and into that upper dining room with the red carpet, and then the kitchen is on the other side, so hopefully it makes a bit more sense. I wasn't really entirely sure what I was doing, I just knew that it would kind of make sense to have some sort of area to store food when I was like struggling to come up with ideas for every single room in the castle. So yeah, that's it, and I wanted to use a cauldron somewhere, so I hope it makes sense in there. I don't know. But yeah, this was the point where I really started struggling. I lost a lot of my inspiration. I didn't really know what to do. I was just working every day but not really getting anything done. It was really hard for me, and I actually just kind of scrapped this broom almost entirely. Well, I changed it around a lot, but I was just like struggling for inspiration, and it was not coming to me. And yeah, I was having a hard time. I was really sort of fighting off a depressive episode at that point, but I just wanted to say, if anyone else is watching this and struggling, I know like times, like especially right now, is not a good time in the world for everyone's mental health, but I promise you that it's worth hanging on, and things do have the potential to get better. Maybe you don't need me to tell you that, but I feel like maybe some people need to hear it, because I know there was a time in my life where I really just needed to believe in that. So, anyways, I'm sorry for getting off topic. Back to the build. This room was really a turning point for me, because I was just so distraught. I didn't know what to do, and then I just closed my eyes and I saw kaleidoscope, and then I opened them again, and in that moment I knew exactly what needed to be done. So yeah, this is the kaleidoscope room, I suppose. I don't know, it doesn't look like a kaleidoscope, but I called it that because it's what I saw in my vision, and I knew just by using that principle I could create something, and I did, or at least I tried to. It's a bit funny, I don't know, it's kind of unconventional, but I wanted to use that organ somewhere, and this is just how it kind of all came together in my mind. And it's kind of an important room to me in terms of this build, because like I say, it was really the catalyst that brought back my inspiration and allowed me to continue building, and really fueled or reignited my passion for this project. So yeah, it's a bit strange, but I hope you like it. I tried a lot of things on the back. Like, as you can see, I tried to add like a fireplace, but it didn't really work, so I ended up just going with like that curtain to kind of hide the back of the organ, because I don't know if people really need to see that. But yeah, I hope it looks okay. I tried a lot of different things in it, but this is what I came up with in the end. And then, now that the organ was out of this room beside the library, I kind of just, I don't know, in a way I sort of tried to apply that same principle and use it to create something different, but something that fit, something that I took inspiration from the existing castle and used just to create something that would work in that space. I'm completely rambling now. I'm sorry, but this last part was really exciting for me, as I say, because I could add so much of my own, or so many of my own touches to it, really more so than I did with any of the other floors. So maybe it's terrible and you hate it, and if you do, I'm sorry, I don't blame you. I went maybe a little overboard, I don't know, but I was just trying to be creative and make something new and exciting, but something that still paid homage and respect to the existing art of Vampire's Dawn. Yeah. And this room is another one that I ended up changing later. Originally, I really wanted to have at least one room that had a couch facing the fireplace, and I thought I could kind of try to create that there. I thought it might be cool to put those two styles of sofas like back to back, but I didn't like it in the end. I tried it out, and you will see later that I renovate that room again, kind of. Well, I changed the couches. Spoiler alert. I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. And this was one corridor that was kind of bland. I don't really know how I felt about it, but it was really only serving as an entrance to the library. There wasn't much else to it, so I just kind of left it at that. Yeah, oh yeah, and you could kind of see there that I moved the bench around in that art room, and I put down a workbench. Yeah, like a woodworking table. And for this one, I realized that I didn't really have any children's stuff in the castle, so I kind of made like a room that was just specifically designated to have stuff for kids. I don't know, like you could change it again if you want to. But I don't know. I just thought like I wanted to kind of cover all my bases. So if you have kids or you want stuff for them to do, I sort of hid all that away in this little room. And not all of it is really like super medieval looking, like especially that art table, but I wanted to have an art table, and like the colors are neutral and natural, so if you don't look too closely at it, maybe it could pass. I don't know. It was a tough decision to make for me, but hopefully it worked out. So yeah, there's like a little game they can play, there's art, there's the castle dollhouse, so hopefully it's all good. Oh yeah, and then I added another easel in there because I thought it kind of fit with the overall theme of the room. It was between that or the bonsai plant, and I don't know if the bonsai plant really works. Oh yes, and then this room was kind of the one where I managed to have a couch facing the fireplace, but not really. Sorry. This was really just kind of like a cozy little room to relax in. It was actually inspired by one of the rooms in the dollhouse, in the castle dollhouse. So yeah, this, I put the tea set on the table, and something I'm a bit conflicted with was I added a globe, which is like, also works as a little bar, since that was another thing that I didn't manage to work on in anywhere else in the build. I don't know if I couldn't find any way to really fit in a bar that would be natural, but I don't know. Do they know the world is round? I kind of assumed maybe they do because they can fly off one edge of the map and come back on the other, but then again, that's just like a game mechanic. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. But yeah, you can get rid of that if you want. I spent a long time trying to justify it in my head, and I'm still not sure how I feel about it. Maybe that was a really stupid thing to put in if I'm trying so hard to justify it. I believe the first globe was made in 1492. I don't know, I'm rambling, I'm sorry. But anyways, this was another one that I struggled a bit with. Like, look at that carpet, that's hideous. It looked okay in my head, but then when I saw it, how it actually translated into the game, it was disgusting. Ugh, yuck, we hate it. So yeah, I tried a few different things, and none of them really worked. So then I gave up on that for a little while and decided to come back to it later. Well, I created this one. I don't know, I thought it would be cool to have a fountain in the castle somewhere. I don't know how fitting it is, but we already have running water with the baths and the toilets, so I thought we might as well go all the way. I really like fountains. I think they're very pretty, they're very luxurious. So that was something that I really just wanted to incorporate. I hope you like it. And what else? Oh, yeah, so as you can see, I changed it around a lot. I put a lot of those closets in. I don't know why. I just think they're kind of fun to have around, and they take up like sort of some of that empty space, so it's more justified. But yeah, this was I think it worked out a lot better than it did the way I originally had it, with like the 4 little rooms on the corners. Oh yeah, and so I kind of decided I was inspired by like the map room from Vampire's Dawn 2 for this one. I wanted to create like a table with a map on it, but that was the only map that really worked, and it had like that walkie-talkie thing, the radio, and that just was like too modern, so I covered it up with those books, and then I took a sword and I scaled it down so it could be more like a little dagger or something. I don't know. I hope it works out. So that could be like a planning room, I suppose. And then for this one, I keep saying this, but this one was kind of hard because it's like at one of the entrances of the castle, so I feel like it should have some impact. And since each floor so far has had like some kind of dining table in it, I thought it would work here, but then you probably noticed I paused for a second because I realized there was already a dining table in the room next to it, so it really makes very little sense. So I got rid of that, and then I tried just having the carpet running through the middle of it, but I hated that because it ruined my kaleidoscope room to have to connect it. Disgusting. No, we hate it. Get rid of it. Oh yeah, and that room I was just working on was actually one that was one of the only rooms on this floor that was actually part of the castle as it is supposed to exist. But yeah, I changed this room around a bit. I ended up adding the suits of armor. I thought that kind of made for a nice entrance hall. It's a bit more imposing. It just worked a lot better than anything else I tried, I found. Yeah, and I really like, in my own, like, the rooms that I made myself, I ended up using a lot of more of those, like, candelabras, because I just really like how they look. I think they give a very regal and sophisticated air to the rooms that they are placed in. But anyways, this is the entrance to the magic room, and I wanted to create a carpet that was kind of like the one in the game, so I put those like little white runner carpets around the perimeter and scaled them down to create like a border around. It's not obviously exactly like the in-game area, but I hope it worked out at least a bit. And I had to move it. I built it on like the second floor of the basement because that was the only way I would have enough room to fit everything I needed in. So this was kind of just me trying to measure out how many blocks wide it would need to be in order to fit. And then I sort of created the hallway above it, or created sort of a hallway above it to have like stairs going down into that area, so I would just be free to build whatever I needed. Hopefully that explanation wasn't too rambling. But yeah, here it is. I was very excited, and the first sort of issue I ran into was deciding what kind of lights to use, because they have like these braziers with blue flames in them, but I thought those kind of orb lights from Realm of Magic might work because they're a similar shape, and like the orb they produce is actually blue, but I ended up thinking that the ones from Get Famous that you can see I'm using right now, were a bit more fitting, although I was really disappointed because I thought that if I changed the lighting color, it would actually change the color of the flame effect to blue, but it did not. So I'm a bit disappointed in that, but oh well. Oh yeah, and then I tried to create like the machine, what is it called? I don't know, but I used a lot of those orbs, the familiar orbs from Realm of Magic that I scaled up. I really was excited to do this because I've had this idea in my head since the very beginning, and I really wanted to try it and see if it would work. So I was gonna use either the orbs, as you can see, or those magic seeds, the magic beans, but I thought the orbs worked better, and I tried to create like some kind of stripe pattern around those ones to make it look more like the ones from Vampire's Dawn, but it didn't really work out, unfortunately. But I hope it's still okay and it bears enough of a resemblance to the authentic ones. But that was really fun to make. I really enjoyed making this room a lot, even if it wasn't entirely accurate. Yeah, this was a lot of fun, and I thought that the carpet from, I think it's from City Living, they give like you swatches of one of the carpets from the base game that's kind of more worn and dirty, and I thought that really created, like, that looked very similar to the one that's actually in Vampire's Dawn, so I was happy about that. And I was also going to mention something that just entirely slipped my mind. Oh yeah, the bone piles. There are oh yeah, and here you can see how it looks after I changed the light color. It's not perfect, but I hope it's tolerable. But yeah, those bone piles from what's it, Jungle Adventure. I'm happy I found them and at least work, but it is kind of annoying that they're like in a pile of ash. Well, it's not ash, it's dirt, but maybe I don't know, maybe they were burned alive. But then again, Asgar doesn't have fire powers, so I don't know what happened to them. But yeah, I don't know. I wanted it to be authentic as possible, but those didn't really work out. Oh yeah, and I should also mention the pond. You can see it with like the actual mist on it now, and it's pretty excessive, so you could get rid of those if you want to. But yeah, I think it looks cool at night. It looks very spooky and vampiric, but during the day it's a little much. But anyways, I tried to add more trees and bushes around. Those were called graveyard cypress trees, and they look a lot like the ones in the game, so I thought it was really fitting. But yeah, this is the final step. I'm just doing the finishing touches, and that's the end. I really appreciate you watching. Thank you so much. And I hope you like it, Lara. Bye!